How's it going, everybody? Ed Ricker here with the DJI Mini 2. A couple weeks ago, I put out a YouTube video, actually 2 YouTube videos, about how to set up the Mini 2 as if you just got it and you're just setting up for the first time. I know a lot of people got theirs for Christmas and I thought it might be a good idea. Well, DJI also thought it was a good idea to release some new firmware right after I made that video. So this video is to discuss some of the new things in this new firmware update that you're going to have as you get your new drone or as you update your existing Mini 2. First of all, the DJI Fly app, there's a new version out. So with the version 1.2.2, we can now use the Pixel 5 by Google. We couldn't before. So there's also probably some other display devices we can use with this new DJI Fly app. Check it out. There's a link in the video description to some of the compatible devices. If you're wondering what version your Mini 2 is at right now, first of all, make sure that you click Go Fly in the DJI app once everything is powered on. And then on the top right of the app, tap those 3 little dots to open up the menu. All the way to the right, tap About. And then you can see your aircraft and your RC firmware, FlySafe database, and your app version. If you stumble on this video a year from now, I'm sure those numbers will be changed and you'll have even more current firmware. Now, I'm recording this little voiceover bit to apologize. I was recording at a very low resolution on my cell phone with this tutorial. Sorry. So the first thing that we can note is that we can zoom in digitally with video mode. Well, this time we can also zoom in digitally with photo mode. So on the remote, there's this little button, which actually I didn't really talk about in my tutorial. Press that once, and you flip back and forth between video and photo mode. Once we're in photo mode, right next to the shutter button, you see a little 1x icon. You can tap that with your thumb now, and that's 2x. 1x, 2x. So that's your digital zoom, and it's either 1 or 2. Or you hold that icon, and it becomes a little digital scroll wheel there, and you can rock back and forth with your thumb and zoom in that way. Also, I was watching a video from FlightPath recently, and he showed that you can press with your thumb the function button, hold the function button, and then with your finger, use what would normally be the gimbal tilt dial to zoom in nice and gradually. And this feels just like the Mavic 2 zoom. Very nice and gradually like that. That's very cool. If we tap that little button again on the right to go back to video mode, we can record in 4K, hold the function button, and then scroll in while we're shooting video. So essentially, we just turned this into a Mavic 2 zoom. Now, there's no optical zoom, I understand that, but to be able to do this, that's pretty cool for the Mini 2. Love that. And that we can record at the same time while doing it. That's an added bonus. So we're going to stop recording. Now, since I already switched to video mode for this demonstration, right above the record button, you see the little film strip, and that enables us to select different video frame rates and resolutions. This is another added bonus. We have 2.7K. We had that before, but now we have the option to shoot 48 frames per second, 50, and even 60 frames per second at 2.7K. Before, we could only do that in 1080p resolution. So now we have 60 frames per second in 2.7K. That's pretty much what the Mavic 2 line of drones could do anyway. They maxed out at that. Only the Mavic Air 2 can actually go even higher at 4K 60. So we have 2.7K 60. We have our digital zoom with the gradual zoom with the rocker on the back. This is awesome. Another thing they fixed is sometimes when you were shooting in 4K resolution with the Mini 2, on the top left of your recording, you would see just a little tiny orange line. I never noticed it, and I heard people talking about it, but I didn't really notice it. Finally, I reviewed some of my old footage that I took when I first got the Mini 2, and yes, there's a little orange line in the very top left of my 4K footage from the Mini 2. Surprised me. Either way, this firmware update has fixed that. There is no longer an orange line in your footage. We have this function button on the left side of the controller, and before it only had one actual function. You couldn't program it to do anything else except recenter the gimbal. We can now recenter the gimbal. We can change the gimbal mode from follow to FPV, follow being standard. We can open up the camera settings, or we can turn auto exposure lock on and off with either the tap or the double tap of that function button. And finally, one other feature, and it's really obvious to me, and this is probably the biggest difference, and this is associated with the new app, the DJI Fly 1.2.2 app. At the bottom center of the screen, there is no more compass indicator. It has shifted and it has been moved, and it's sort of been hidden too. And a lot of people that I've talked to aren't really convinced this is better. Some people think this is worse, but regardless, this is how it is. On the bottom left, you see the little GPS icon. You tap that once and it somewhat expands your GPS view. Now, we're not gonna make it full screen. Instead, on the bottom right of that little window there, you see that little compass icon. That is where our new compass is. We'll tap that, and now on the bottom left, we see our compass and our drone, indicating where our home spot is, where north is, and also how the drone is tilted. So it's an attitude indicator. What that means is if I start moving forward, you see those two lines raise up a little bit. Now if I go backward with the drone, you see those lines go lower with the horizon. It's like an artificial horizon. Basically, it's showing us the tilt of the drone. If we roll the drone left, if we roll it right, see? Now, of course, the Mavic Mini doesn't really roll per se. It just, you know, tilts and then creates movement left and right. But that's what I'm talking about. You can see the tilt of the drone. Now, it's a very still day right now. If it was breezy, yeah, I mean, the trees aren't even moving at all. If it was breezy at all, you could also tell the direction of the wind by the tilt of the drone through the attitude indicators on that little compass map there. So then if you want to find where to fly back, you would yaw around so that the little compass indicator is pointed toward H. H stands for home, and if I'm pointed at it with that little green pie slice essentially, that means I can head forward and eventually I will be back to where I was. There's home point. I'm nearing it really close. So you get close to the home point, you start to see how far away you are from it in the indicator. However, if you're, you know, hundreds of meters away, that home point is just going to be on the very edge of that radial map there. All right, so that's about it. Great update. It really helped us out, gave us some new options with this Mini 2. And since they've been churning out updates so quickly, it seems like this video might even be updated in a few weeks. I'm not really sure. Either way, keep an eye out for new updates. It's always good to keep your drone updated because of the stabilization fixes, other fixes, app fixes. Check the links in the description to compatible devices like, you know, now the Pixel 5 by Google. Also, check the link in the description if you're looking to buy the Mini 2. I get a small commission if you do go through my link at no cost to you. It's just a way that I can continue to make these videos, and they make it worth to me to work so hard at them to keep you informed. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, happy flying.